Hello everyone, and today I'll be continuing my reviews of Doctor Who Series 1, and I've decided to make it my aim for by the end of the month to have reviewed all 10 stories, 13 episodes of the first series of the revived era of Doctor Who. Today I'm going to be looking at Father's Day, a story that some people like and some people don't like. I know that's the same with most things, but it's very, very mixed in terms of the actual criticism of the story. Now, this was a story that I probably haven't watched all the way through since its original showing in 2005, 8 years ago. At least a good 5 or 6 years ago at least. So, you know, I couldn't even remember how it ended, or what happened after, like, the halfway point. So, you know, it was an interesting story to rewatch, I can tell you that. The episode is, of course, all about Rose's dad and how she goes to change time in the heat of the moment, and turns out her father doesn't die in the end, and he lives. So it's all happy, isn't it? But of course it's not happy. What is quite nice about the story is that it's sort of a bit more realistic in terms of, yeah, this is what's going to happen. It's what's going to have to happen. And the way the story is written really sets up the actual conclusion of the episode without you kind of realising exactly. Now, while the obvious fact is that you know he's got to be run over again, it's not too clear exactly what the Doctor's plan is. But of course, when it's revealed at the end that Pete says that the Doctor's plan was to try and save everybody, and he was just trying to not get Pete killed, it's obvious that the Doctor was trying to keep Rose happy and trying to save Pete, but he didn't quite know how he was going to do that. Also, the thing about the TARDIS, it doesn't make complete and utter sense, so I'm wondering if this was all set up by the Doctor. You know, the whole thing of trying to give everyone hope, and then of course it all goes horribly wrong. I don't know, it's just one of those questions. It is quite a big niggle in a way with the episode, because, you know, it's one of the sort of plot points, if you like, of how it's going to all end. But yeah, as I said, you know, it's quite a realistic story in everyone's interactions and everything. It doesn't feel like it will sort of go into different areas that you perhaps wouldn't do with most family dramas. Although, that's the thing, lots of stuff after Doctor Who was sort of taken after Doctor Who. Stuff like Merlin. Merlin's a bit darker. I suppose it's a bit more scary, I guess, than Doctor Who, but in a way Merlin's a very, very different show to Doctor Who, so it's kind of difficult to judge both of them. But yeah, I mean, it's not a particularly scary episode. In a way, I suppose it's quite scary if you're younger. But I suppose some kids might be bored at points. But it's actually very well written and everything, as I said. I'm trying to not repeat myself here. What I was going to say. Another flaw with it, which isn't a huge flaw, but it's something that I just think of. How old is Mickey meant to be? Young Mickey, I mean. Because I'm confused, because Rose is a baby, probably like 18 months old, or at the most 1 year. No, I doubt she'd even be 1, would she? I don't know. Mickey must be at least 2, I'd say, at least. So, you know, I don't know. I'm just saying. I always thought Mickey was the same age as Rose, but of course, Father's Day sort of contradicts that. I don't know. I suppose there's lots of things you can probably brush over in terms of history was changed. So, you know, Wales was changed is the other thing. What was it? I'm pretty sure in Rise of Sun and Age still forgive me if I'm wrong, that something like Mickey's parents died and his nan or gran or whatever was the person who looked after him for most of his life, or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Series 2 isn't the series I rewatch a lot. Yeah, it's a good episode. I think it's quite an emotional episode. Sort of in this story, Marigold really doesn't sort of throw the music right in your face, a bit like later stories. Angels Take Manhattan, for instance. You know, as much as he's a great musician, but quite a few of the stories, particularly nowadays, he does overdo it perhaps a bit too much. Yeah, Veil Decem or whatever, how I pronounce it. Great piece of music, you know, sort of thing you get at the proms and award-winning music, but it felt very over the top and really overdoing it in The End of Time Part 2. So I'm slightly worried about Matt Smith's final episode, but I'm hoping that it'll be a bit more subtle, if you know what I mean, not too bombastic. But in this story I think the music's very, very good. It doesn't really overdo it, but it's still, you really get the emotions. Of course the other thing is, this is just The Fault with the End of Time, which you can pick quite a few actually. Why didn't they just get something like This Is Gallifrey, or get something along the lines of the Father's Day piece from the Series 1 and 2 soundtrack, which is a very good piece. I just listened to that before filming this, but yeah, I think the direction as well, the Reapers look good. They're not actually named Reapers in the story, which is quite interesting, I thought. But you know, I think that's sort of, they're quite cool creatures. You know, I suppose nowadays the CGI would look a lot better, but you can see they've got some sort of texture to them. Got an idea of what they're like. And you know, they ended up making toys of them, so obviously they were some kind of hit. Although I remember that there were lots of toys, and when I didn't see them in shop, I was never really interested in a Reaper. Can't remember why exactly. I'm still not particularly interested, but you know. Yeah, I think it's a good episode. Again, the TARDIS. What the heck happened there? I'm not too sure. Maybe it's the whole thing to do with the timelines or something or other. Or was it they'd taken the TARDIS and that's when the Doctor was trying to get it back? I can't remember. I don't believe they covered that. I don't believe they did. But don't hold me to that. Yeah, you know, I thought it was a very good episode. Paul Cornell, is quite a good writer, because, yeah, he wrote Human Nature and Family of Blood. That was a good story. I rewatched that the other day. That was a lot better than I remembered it being, I have to admit. I think sort of these stories sort of grow on you a bit more as you get older. Although I wouldn't call it a perfect story. This story I'd probably give a 9 out of 10, because I thought it was a very good story. I know, you know, there's little niggles I have with it. Yeah, 9 out of 10. I'm gonna be quite generous, actually. 9 out of 10, isn't it? Yeah, I think in a generous mood. I thought it was a very good story, very moving as well. So, next review, possibly The Empty Child and Doctor Dances. We'll have to see. Yeah, I might see if I can get through every single episode of Series 1, as I've been dared to, or something to do with that.